Hello and welcome back. I'm Rayleigh Pierce, parent coach, and here to guide you through onboarding if you're new to a Waldorf school or your Waldorf faculty to see what I'm sharing with parents. So we have this next topic is on Waldorf culture. And let's go ahead and we're going to start just looking at Waldorf culture as characterized by a holistic approach to education, and it emphasizes creativity, imagination, and experiential learning. Waldorf education, as we know, it was developed by Rudolf Steiner in the early 20th century. And a key aspect of Waldorf education is the concept of rhythm and routine. In terms of assessment, Waldorf education takes a non-competitive approach. Instead of focusing on grades and standardized testing, teachers primarily rely on observation and qualitative assessments to track students' progress. The emphasis is on nurturing the individual talents and strengths of each child rather than comparing them to others. Waldorf schools often prioritize the integration of nature and outdoors into the educational experience. Nature walks, gardening, outdoor play, these are common elements of the curriculum as they're seen essential for fostering a connection with the natural world and promoting physical and emotional well being. Waldorf schools also prioritize a strong sense of community. Parent involvement is encouraged, and there are regular opportunities for parent teacher collaboration and communication. So let's look more closely at this teacher parent connection, or let's uh, actually look at kind of the overall health and wellness, I would say, aspects, which includes the relationship of the parent and the teacher. We've already looked at communication, but these things, these aspects of a Waldorf school around health and wellness, like nutrition, there's a priority in providing wholesome meals for students. So we ask that typically parents pack foods that will help your child to stay focused on learning, whole foods. Um, so you'll see in typical lunches, you might see homemade soup or soup in a container that keeps it hot. You might see cultural foods that come through where parents of different ethnic cultural backgrounds will share their foods with their children. So you might see sushi, or you might see um, quesadillas or burritos. You might see all kinds of different ways of eating. We have vegans and we have plant based and we have keto. And so you have all kinds of eating approaches as well. But everything is about kind of the emphasis is on a balanced diet, and it's on drinking water versus like soda or even, bringing milk to school. Typically not something that you'd see always at a Waldorf school. Lots of like looking at how to diminish waste. So packaging is usually important in a Waldorf school, but nobody's getting hung up on anything. It's just this is kind of the values that you see. So when you gather for a potluck, you see some really amazing dishes that are, more for the most part homemade. No one's going to turn away a really great Kentucky Fried Chicken, but usually there's just this sense that food is meant to nourish rather than to entertain, and that fruit and low sugar are good alternatives to sugary sweets. That's just something to note about the Waldorf culture. In terms of movement, physical activity and movement and play are significant in Waldorf education. There's movement classes that focus on developing coordination and strength and spatial awareness. And then there's outdoor play and recess that are encouraged to promote healthy physical development and appreciation of nature. And then we have rhythms and rest. The importance of rhythm and rest is emphasized. Students are provided, regular breaks and downtime to recharge and rejuvenate. And there are seasonal festivals that help the community mark the passage of the year. And of course, we've talked about nature and outdoor education, which is integrated into the curriculum with activities like nature walks and gardening and environmental studies. And spending time in nature is believed to have a positive impact on children's physical and mental well being. We would prioritize that, for example, over screen time. Waldorf schools value emotional well-being of students. So this is why we practice things like a meditative watercolor painting. Usually during watercolor painting, the lights are turned down and it's very quiet. And this really helps the children to have this really peaceful experience of this creative way of expressing themselves through paint and having this quiet time. There are daily verses that they memorize and say together that are very beautiful about nature, about the holistic approach to the world and the integrated the interconnectedness of all of us. There's singing, which we know that music is the ladder to the soul, right? So singing and hearing the children sing in the morning, oh, it's amazing. There's handwork that they learn, these really beautiful crafting skills, sewing and crochet and knitting, that they learn. And of course, one of the best ways for children to experience some really wonderful well-being is through storytelling. And that's integrated into the daily routine to help them develop their self-awareness and emotional intelligence and resilience through these stories that they hear about the world. And sometimes teachers will use stories to help them through social challenges, because we know that stories can be a really wonderful way for children to deal with conflict. Conflict resolution and peaceful communication, that comes through in terms of how we relate to the children and how we handle conflict in the community. Holistic approach to illness means that, a lot of times Waldorf schools will prioritize supporting the child's healing process and maintaining a healthy environment. There's natural remedies a lot of times that people are aware of within a Waldorf community, homeopathy and alternative therapies and yoga, and lots of ways that we look to how to come into balance in the body. And these are used, of course, alongside conventional medical approaches as well. But this is giving you just an idea of what the culture of Waldorf is around health and wellness. One of the key elements of Waldorf education, again, is this emphasis on ritual and rhythm in the daily school life. And rituals and rhythms are what help create a sense of order and structure and predictability, which this is believed to be beneficial for their development. So something like this daily rhythm, each day is structured to follow a predictable rhythm. This includes activities such as the morning verse, which I've mentioned, maybe a circle time if they're a young child. And then we have what we call main lesson blocks. This is kind of where the curriculum comes and it unfolds, and the children will be in a main lesson block for anywhere for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, depending on the subject and the age of the class. And then there'll be artistic activities and, of course, outdoor play. And having a consistent routine helps children feel secure. It allows them to anticipate and engage with different aspects of the education. And this is something that we encourage parents to create their own rhythms at home. That's something that I help as a parent coach with Waldorf families, as I help parents to align their home life with their school life and create these beautiful rhythms within their home life that makes sense for them. So main lesson blocks, the main lesson block in Waldorf education, this is a focus on a particular subject or a theme for several weeks at a time. And this concentrated period allows students to delve deeply into a subject, develop a comprehensive understanding, and engage in artistic and practical activities related to that topic. And this rhythmic approach to, having a math block and then having a language block, having then a play block. This rhythmic approach is allowing the students to immerse themselves in learning, in the process of learning, and fostering a sense of enthusiasm around this subject and mastery in this particular area of that subject. Of course, we have arts and crafts. Waldorf education places a strong emphasis on artistic activities, painting, drawing, music, handwork. These activities are integrated into the daily and the weekly rhythms, allowing the students to engage in creative expression and develop their artistic skills. Artistic work is often linked to the academic subjects, which provide a holistic and imaginative approach to the learning. And what I've mentioned before, these morning verses and these closing rhythms where we shake hands to say hello and to say goodbye. We begin the day with a morning verse or verse recitation. And we also close the routine at the end of the day, which helps students to transition and prepare for their time outside of school. So the use of this ritual and rhythm in Waldorf education, this aims to foster this sense of community and connection and reverence for the world. It acknowledges the importance of structure and repetition in supporting children's learning and well-being. And our final cultural understanding, one thing that's really beautiful is rather than thinking that Waldorf education is anti-tech, Waldorf education is actually pro-connection. So yes, it's not the school that you're going to see a computer lab and students being assigned work to go home and work on their personal laptops or working on something in school on a computer. Because Waldorf education, being from this holistic perspective that we just talked about, it really prides itself on connecting children to nature, to learning, to creativity, to their own imagination, to each other. It's a social learning environment. And in a social learning environment, the whole emphasis is on being together and learning from others and engaging with other humans. And these aspects of childhood can be really valued and appreciated and embraced, especially when we do limit screens. You're paying a lot of money, right, for your child to experience something very beautiful and unique in this holistic approach, and they are connecting with this. And when we include screens in that, it can take away some of their interest or enthusiasm around some of these holistic aspects of how we're introducing learning. Waldorf families are on a, they're striving. Again, there's no perfection here. They're just striving to keep their kids screen free during typically the school week so that your kids will experience these aspects of the education to their highest level. I know a lot of older families might have like a Friday movie night. They might have a little screen time available to the child on Saturdays. The younger the child, the better to keep them off screens. And then as children grow towards adolescence, introducing technology as a tool. But when we focus our energy on being pro-connection to these things that are timeless and to these things that really help our child to cultivate their communication skills, their relationship skills, and really deepen their understanding of these beautiful subjects that are unfolding, we actually get our full money's worth out of this education. So I hope that you will consider yourself pro-connection as a Waldorf teacher, as a Waldorf parent, and pass that on to your children and your students to get the best out of what you're offering. All right, take care. I hope that was informative of the Waldorf culture. Take care.